guys, thanks for tuning in. This is optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Marvel Legends Cable, part of the 2016 X-Men wave featuring the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure. For the package, you can see that you got that really nice open window that fully showcases the figure, his accessories, and that Build-A-Figure part, which for Cable here happens to be kind of like the waist and upper part of the thighs. You got that nice art here on the side with Cable, same thing with there. You got the X-Men logo right there at the top. On the back of the package, you got all the figures that are currently in this wave, and then you got a bit of a read-up that says, a lifelong soldier, Cable perfected his fighting prowess when a technological virus suppressed his natural psychic abilities. You got that in a couple different languages as well. But for the packaging on that guy, that's about it for him. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Cable opened up and out of its packaging. And for what it's worth, I'm a very laid-back kind of collector. I'm not overly particular about my styles, I guess. But one aspect that I've always liked about the X-Men was how they looked in the 90s. The Jim Lee kind of look for them, the X-Men animated series kind of look, all of that was basically where I got my first taste of X-Men from. And while this figure does not have that look, I actually still really very much appreciate what they're doing with this figure and how this guy actually turned out. So let's get him down here and let's get a closer look. Now taking a look at his accessories first, as you can see, he does come with the Juggernaut Build-A-Figure part. Specifically, this is his kind of crotch area and upper thighs. It also does come with Juggernaut's belt. Now, depending on which version of Juggernaut you look at, he wore a belt sometimes he didn't. So that's nice that you can actually take this off and display this with this on or off. It's, you know, your personal preference, but we're going to take a look at Juggernaut in his entirety when we get all these pieces and put them together on camera. And then you also do get a couple guns. As you can see, you get this really heavy-duty, futuristic kind of gun. Again, much like Deadpool, there's not a lot of paint applications in here, but you do get some nice kind of swirly plastic in there that does give it a pretty decent-looking metal look. One thing that I will say is this is a lot thicker of a gun, say those guns that Deadpool came with, so you don't get as much warping in this, but this looks really very nice. Nice sculpted detail on there as well. And then you have that same kind of plastic done up in a much larger gun, and you can actually see you got the bullets and everything. This actually is a separate piece that can just slot right in there, which is actually pretty nice, but you got the nice, you know, copper color painted on the tip, and then, like I said, you just put that in there. But all in all, really nice looking guns on here. You can see there is a little bit of warping on this, but again, pretty heavy duty. And while it is lacking some, you know, dry brush or something of that nature in terms of paint applications, I think that the plastic that they used in terms of the coloring actually came out really nice. And one thing that I actually really like about this figure is that both of his hands are sculpted in a kind of trigger finger sort of way. So you can put this in there and kind of get that little finger in there. You can drop the little bullet thing, and you can do that with this hand as well. And both hands look like he's getting ready to actually shoot it. The left arm here is a little bit more difficult, but for the figure himself, though, I am absolutely blown away. Now, like I talked about, this isn't probably my preferred look for Cable. I'm not quite used to him having all this exposed techno-organic stuff. Like I said, I grew up with the kind of Jim Lee look, and, you know, that was in some of it, and then obviously in the X-Men animated series, he really didn't have this, but all the sculpted detail is just amazing. Now, coming in here to take a look at the face first, again, the sculpting on that is just stellar. They went, you know, that extra mile to sculpt all that detail in the actual side of his face. You got a nice yellow paint for that eye, and then even the scars above his other eye are actually sculpted into the head itself, as opposed to just being a paint app. That's really very cool, and an attention to detail that I really do appreciate. You come down here, you got some nice paint detail for the X on his shoulder. Again, great striation throughout the arms. The armor looks great. One thing that I will say that I'm not particularly a big fan of is you can see that he's obviously got bullet holes on him, and then even on the back, but there's not a lot of actual paint detail kind of threw on. I wish there was a bit of a wash just to kind of give it a little bit dirty of a look. As it is, it looks very clean and very new, despite the fact there are bullet holes on it. So that's a little unfortunate, I would say. That would be one minor thing that I don't particularly like. But the detail, like for example on this arm, all sculpted in, looks absolutely terrific. I love the sculpting for his actual hands and how he's got the little back of the hand guards. Again, real nice paint detail kind of on there as well. I mean, like if they had that kind of a wash kind of put on the armor, that would look so much better, I think. You come down here to the waist area, you can see that he's got a lot of pouches and belt buckles and things like that, which look really nice. You got some nice silver on some of the actual attachments, everything, but the rest is just molded in this dark brown plastic. Great detail with the actual paints and the wrinkle. Again, you come down here to the shins and everything, and again, dirty kind of look would have really taken this a whole nother level. You got some bullet marks on there as well. I just feel it looks a little bit too clean. Sculpting wise, absolutely terrific, I think. Just a little bit too nice and neat. And then as you can see here for height wise, Cable here comes in at a little bit over 7 inches tall. For his articulation, there is a ton of it. The head does hinge forward and back on this nice joint. You can get him putting his face all the way down into the little armor piece right there. You got some nice motion going back. The rest of the head is on a ball joint, so you can get it looking left and right. And then it does pivot a little bit outside of that actual neck hinge, which is really nice. The shoulders here hinge forward and back, and then they're pinned in, so you can rotate those around. You got a nice pin joint here for the upper part of the bicep. He's got 2 joints here at the elbow, but again, because of the way that the muscle is, you don't get a ton of range of motion. It brings in a little bit more than 90 degrees, I would say, which isn't bad, but I mean, you could almost just do away with that extra double joint, I think. The wrists do rotate nicely. They do also hinge forward and back. Both of them actually do that, so you can rotate both of those and then flex them forward and back. The upper abs here have it feels kind of like a ball joint, so you get a nice range of motion there. The waist, I should say, also rotates. The hips move forward, they move back, they move in and out. I think those are just ball joints in there, so you get a nice range of motion with that. The upper part of the thighs has a rotation cut, and then you get 2 joints here at the knee. Coming down to the actual ankle, you can pivot it side to side, and it can move forward and back. So you do get a full range of motion with this guy for some really very cool poses. One part that I don't particularly like in terms of a negative, I would say, is that the arms are a little bit rubbery, kind of. The rest of the figure is a very solid, sturdy plastic, whereas the arms, though, both of them actually they feel like they're a lower quality. So you can see he can do some like weird wiggly movements in his arms. It's just a figure that really could be just about perfect, I would say. Kind of suffers in the fact that it's lacking some of the extra paint wash that I wish it would have. I mean, you got some great detail even on the inside here. Really very, very nice. So lacking paint detail kind of in the armor, and then the little bit lower quality plastic used here in the arm really does keep it from being basically a perfect figure, I would say. This looks really cool, and that's coming from somebody who doesn't necessarily like, I guess, and I use the word like very loosely, because I mean, I still like the way this looks, but I'm more used to that more classic kind of look. This modern look is really cool, and like I said, I think this figure could be perfect if some of those improvements were there. In general, though, this figure turned out great. Whether you're a fan of the classic or more modern look, this is a great representation of Cable. But a few nagging little things like paint applications and lower quality plastic used for the arms just barely keeps this figure from being perfect. As it is, we just gotta settle for him being great. Now, Cable, as well as the rest of the X-Men wave, are at various retail locations right now. So if you're looking for them, good luck and happy hunting. Or as always, there's Big Bad Toy Store. So all you have to do for that is click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to BBTS where you can check out availability on this guy, as well as the rest of the Hasbro Marvel Legend figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been optibotimus. Don't forget that if you like this video, to please like and share it. Also be sure to subscribe in case you haven't already subscribed. That way you never miss a future review of mine. And as always, until next time, I'll talk to you later.